Joseph Payne, hello and good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. It's good to be with you, Alexandra.
Good to have you. So in Israel, we are familiar with the Moderna's and Pfizer's vaccines. What can you tell us about Arcturus?
Well, the Arcturus vaccine is also an RNA vaccine. We do have a unique technology that is called self-replicating messenger RNA. So that this means that the vaccine continues to print off or express a protein for an extended duration. And because of this improvement in the technology, the dose level is much lower and the duration of action could be extended.
What do you see in your early stage trials already?
Yes, we're in phase 1/2 trials in Singapore is where we're conducting the trial.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so you see good results so far?
Yes, very promising results for both the single shot regimen and also the prime boost regimen, which is a 2-shot administration for the vaccine. We've seen early efficacy and very promising safety results in the preliminary interim data cut, which means that the vaccine is at least appearing to be working. So we're excited about that early.
So do you have, Mr. Payne, an estimation when we'll be able to see your vaccine ready?
Yes, we're manufacturing it as we speak. We've received additional funding from one of our other partners, not only Israel, but also Singapore. Mm-hmm. And these funds are going to be dedicated to help manufacturing the vaccine to make sure that it's stockpiled and ready to distribute as early as possible in 2021.
And early as possible, you mean January, February? Can you give us a date?
Sure. So the first quarter of next year, we plan to have millions of doses prepared and stockpiled for distribution. As for approval of the vaccine, that's going to be dictated and authorized by the different regulatory agencies that we're working with globally.
How many of the million of the doses of the vaccine will be transported to Israel, according to the agreement?
Yes, we haven't disclosed the exact number, although we consider Arcturus to be a key component and part of the vaccination strategy for Israel. We're definitely dedicated to playing a key role. We consider Israel and also Singapore the 2 first countries to receive our vaccine. We've already signed or executed a binding agreement for that purpose.
Okay, let's talk about the logistic issues. You claim that it will be easier to transport your vaccine than Pfizer's and Moderna.
Yes, many of the other vaccines are frozen liquid formulations. They still have the water in them after manufacturing, and water can degrade RNA over a period of time. So it makes sense to remove the water prior to distribution and then add the water right prior to administration. This process of removing the water is called lyophilization. And so what the vaccine looks like, the product, instead of a frozen liquid, it's actually a powder. And the powder does not require extraordinary temperatures to maintain stability, does not require dry ice handling, and there's no concerns over what are called phase transitions. There's nothing melting, for example. So because of the product is intended to be lyophilized, this gives us unique advantages with respect to storing, distributing, and the logistics of distributing the vaccine.
And each one of us needs only 1 dose of your vaccine, not 2.
Well, what we've seen in our preliminary data analysis in the clinic is that both the single administration and the prime boost appear to be promising. And so we are advancing both of those regimens forward at a dose of 7.5 micrograms. Now, that's an extraordinarily low dose because of the technologies that we're employing. We're using the self-replicating mRNA and the Arcturus delivery technology that's that we're well known for as well.
How many people have participated so far or participating in your trials?
Well, the phase 1/2 trial is relatively small compared to the more advanced studies, but we had 106 people participate.
When are you going to start the next stage of the trials?
The next stage of the trials is we're in discussions and consultations and interactions with multiple regulatory agencies. We're talking to the Health Sciences Authority in Singapore. We're also engaged in certain interactions with the FDA here in the United States, where Arcturus is headquartered. We have frequent conversations with the Israeli Ministry of Health, keeping them in the loop and making sure that they're aware of the progress being made. But as to the specific guidance as to the location and size of the later stage trials, we haven't shared that because we're in multiple conversations and we need their input before we can share that publicly.
So your message, Mr. Payne, it's not only Pfizer and Moderna, you're also in the race.
Oh, well, absolutely. I think there's multiple races, right? There's a race for approval. And then there's a race to see who can manufacture the vaccine quickly and efficiently. And that's a conversation that bodes well for Arcturus because our dose level is very low. But then you also have to consider the lineup for the vaccine. And Arcturus's primary dedication to Israel and Singapore, they're the first in line for the Arcturus vaccine. And I think that's important to take into consideration when you're evaluating all of the vaccines as to when they'll be deployed.
Okay, Joseph Payne, thank you so much for this interview.
Hey, thank you. And a special thanks to the Israeli Ministry of Health. They've been very supportive. And we look forward to working with them diligently to get this vaccine to the Israeli citizens as soon as possible. And we really appreciate their support.
Thank you, Joseph.
All right. Bye for now. Thank you. It's good to be with you, Alexander.